digital file. Okay, so today we're having a few glitches with something between Zoom and Facebook where we couldn't broadcast live, but I'm recording this for y'all, those of you who want to go back and watch the replay later. And then I'm here in Zoom with a couple of our VIP people as well, which we're going to do some one-on-one coaching in a little bit. But first, I want to do the main training that I wanted to share with you guys today. And I'm actually going to share my screen in just a second here, because I want to go through an actual training today that I think will be helpful. Let's see. I literally, and it's funny, I've been on another training all day since 7 a.m. with one of my mentors. So I literally just jumped off of that, and it's been one of those crazy mornings already. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Can you guys, everybody see my screen okay? All right, so it's got a lot of stuff going on here. Okay, this is in Google Slides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through real quickly, and then I'm going to go through after this and we'll answer some questions. Since I'm not live right now on the Facebook page, you may be watching this back later. If you have questions on this, please put them in the chat. You can put them in the Zoom chat if you're VIP, or you can put them in the Facebook chat if you have questions. We'll also put the link if you'd like to join VIP. You can still get the past recordings. Welcome Heidi, who joined yesterday. So she got the replays of the other ones that we've done. And then it's now also going to get all of the recordings moving forward. So you get these recordings and the private recordings in VIP. Now, VIP is the place to be. This is where you get more one-on-one coaching. We walked somebody through the other day. She was a government employee and worked for the IRS and secretly wanted to leave her job and wants to build a side hustle. So we mapped out exactly what she needs to do with very little time in the next 60 days to hit 60K. That was her goal. And we showed her how to do that consistently each quarter. So this year she would be on track to make 240,000. And that would replace her government employee position of about 150. This person, her husband recently had a stroke. She's a cancer survivor. She wants to help people avoid burnout so they don't end up in the hospital and sick. So what an amazing career transformation to go from working in the IRS, which can't be a very rewarding job. You rarely ever get a thank you in that job, right? I mean, you get an atta-girl, atta-boy, maybe from your superior if you catch something in an audit, but for the most part, I would imagine it's got to be stressful. It's probably not that rewarding. And it's the complete opposite of actually being a healer and helping people. And one thing I just want to say real quick to those of you that are in that space, my mentor, Tony Robbins, he said to me years ago, he said, Melanie, stop seeing yourself as a teacher and someone who's just giving information out to people. You need to see yourself as a healer and see that you're offering transformation. Now, I don't know about y'all, but tell me if that resonates with you guys and say goosebumps in the chat, right? Put goosebumps if that resonates with you. Some of you need to be able to receive what you are and who you are and the energy that you can bring out to the world. Because if we can help more people transition from being auditors and working for the IRS to actually become healers and save lives, oh my gosh, guys, I'm getting goosebumps right now, right? Isn't that what we all want? And if you guys have the ability to do that for your clients, right? This is what I want to teach you, even if you don't have a business or you just have an idea of like you have some expertise in some area. So this today is about how to grow your business with a book. Right? 10 ways to grow your business with a book and some very specific examples. If you don't have a business, but you want to grow a mission or a movement, or let's say you're an insurance agent and you're making 200,000 a year and you've been doing it for 20, 30 years, you're thinking of retiring. Listen to me. Listen to me. This is for you. Okay. It is selfish to retire with all that knowledge when there are thousands of new people coming into that industry every day, getting their license that have no clue how to make money, no clue how to run a business. They need your guidance. They need your mentorship. So we can show you how to fund your retirement by creating a consulting service, and we call it mentorship. And at our company, at Defining Moments, one thing we specialize in is helping people who want to have a change in their life, whether it's their personal life, maybe a weight loss goal, a health issue, health goal, financial goal, relationship goal, or what's something in their business development, right? Growing their business, building their email list, starting a coaching service. So basically we help you find a mentor, and you can either buy their book, take a course, or actually work with them one-on-one, right? Have a mentor. Or we show you how to become a mentor, which is really exciting. So no matter where you're at in life, there's something that we know that we can help you overcome, work through, create a vision for, break through, and have incredible transformation. Now, writing a book is a transformational experience, right? How many of you have ever looked in the mirror and thought, I should write a book? Put book in the chat. Now, some of you in my VIP, some of you are already clients of ours and you're in the middle of writing a book. Some of you have written a book. It didn't sell very well. You didn't do anything with it. Others, like Heidi said, I never even thought about writing a book till I talked to you. And now it's annoying me because it's in my head. She didn't say that, but I know what, people are like, I didn't even think about this. And now I can't sleep because, oh my God, you helped me realize how much money I'm losing by not having a book. So I will tell you, there's one thing that I did that transformed my business and my life forever, that blew my business up more than anything I've done in 30 years of business. And remember, I've been featured in the media. I've been a radio host, a TV host. I've written for major magazines. I own my own magazines and publishing company as well for 30 years. And yet nothing I did, even with the media, blew up my business like this one thing that I'm going to teach you today, and that is writing a book. Now, with AI and technology, guys, you can write a book in a few hours. There is no excuse. Okay, you can get a ghostwriter. We have all kinds of support and resources available to you. If you don't feel like you have time, that's an excuse. You can do it. I've had friends who wrote their book in a few hours because they got clarity. So in 1 hour, we can train you. We don't have time today, but we can show you and train you how to get clarity on your message. Who should you write a book for? What problem are you going to solve? How much money you can make off of it, and even get clarity on your outline in 1 hour. You'll have all of that, right? Everything is about moving you forward. If you want to build a course, we can show you in 20 minutes how to build a course. You can get it up and running in a few days. So some of you need to make money in the next 7 days. Some of you need to pay your taxes in the next 2 weeks, right? So the idea is I just want you to realize that there are no limitations. There are no restrictions, that even if you have a job and you have very limited time to create a side hustle or do something on the side, anyone can do this. My son did this when he was 11. My dad did this when he was 85. Okay, I enrolled my family, my own father, in this program. And you know what's funny? He doesn't do social media. He doesn't have a list. He has no emails. He has no followers. And he's making over $3,000 a month with his books right now. And he's written 4 books. He's crushing it. He's actually working on his 5th book right now. So, and the thing is, everybody, the first book, they talk about it, they think about it forever. And I'll tell you, you're not alone, because 80% of people out there say they want to write a book. That means 8 out of every 10 people you know say, I want to write a book, but only 1% actually do. And out of that 1%, only a small percent actually make a living. What we do is teach people how to create opportunity where you can write a book, and we can show you how to make 150, 200,000 a year with this model. If you want to be a speaker, we can show you how to speak on stages and make 6 figures, even if you speak for free. And guys, I'm going to show you today, even if you give your book away, you can make 100 grand a year or more, right? We have people making 8 figures. That's $10 million a year. That's crazy. Okay. And 2 years ago, they were about to go under during COVID, and they wrote a book, and it changed and saved their business. This is why it's the most important lesson I can teach you. It's something that I really want you guys to think about. I want you to plant a seed. And the reason is because I can sit here and impact you all day long. We can have this conversation, just us, me and you and a few of us. But if I encourage you and inspire you to go write a book, and you inspire and encourage people, and they do something different, they save their own life, like Sadie teaching them to live a different life, or Richard teaching them to prevent a heart attack. I mean, if your book is going to save lives, then it's almost selfish to keep that knowledge in you because of your own fear and doubt. Just like it's selfish to retire when you have so much knowledge you can share with somebody. My son's 21 years old, and all his friends want to be realtors because they think they're going to make money and get nice cars. They don't even know what's going on in the economy. They don't realize interest rates are up. So they're got to get creative in their deals. So you know who they need to learn from? Other realtors who have consistently made 200,000 plus a year for the last 5 to 10 years, who are ready to retire. So I have a realtor that I'm helping her write a book and create a course for $2,000. Now, how many of you, even parents, if I could show you through her how to make $200,000 a year from year one as a realtor, wouldn't you pay $2,000 for speed to learn how to do that? As a parent, wouldn't you invest in that? It's way cheaper than college. And I'll tell you this, in life, you take the test and then you learn the lesson, right? Right here, you learn, you get paid as you go. In college, you have to spend all this money and you get this giant receipt at the end with this huge student debt for years and years. You still don't know how to make money because they don't teach it in school, and they don't teach it in high schools anymore either. So with us, you earn as you learn. You know, you grow as you go. And this is not something that you just, one day snap it on, turn it on, and understand it. You grow into this business. You don't just go into it. So what I want to do is simplify it and show you how easy this is to do and how every single one of you has time to do it, no matter what your circumstance. We've had retired grandmothers making $1,000 a month completely revolutionize their entire company and start their own TV show and coaching practice and make money and sell a ton of books and influence and help a lot of people. One of them, Nikki Smith, Nikki was that person. She's now adopted over 70 kids. Like, she's basically fostered them, not adopted officially, but taken these kids who were abused by somebody in their family or their past and helped them overcome things in their life. She's mentored them, taken them under her wing, and basically like almost adopted them as like another mother to them, right? That she has the ability to do that now because she learned the tools. And so that's what I want to teach you. So this is 10 ways to grow your business with a book. So how do you build your credibility quickly? You write a book. Now, I shared this yesterday. I'm going to share it again. I love this quote. It's so good. There's a guy named J. Conrad Levinson. He wrote the book, Guerrilla Marketing. Somebody asked him how much money he made on his book. The answer was 10 million. He only made 35,000 in royalties because he had a traditional publisher. That publisher only paid him maybe $1 a book, maybe $2 if he was lucky. Okay. But the speaking engagements, spinoffs, books, newsletters, columns, boot camps, consulting, wide open doors resulted in the remaining 9,965,000. Isn't that cool? So this is what I want to show you. Now, back in the day, this was 20 years ago that he launched his book, and he's still making money off that book, but a traditional publisher is making 90% of that because that was the only option he had. Now, today, Amazon has changed the book business forever. And I'm going to show you how you can self-publish and keep all your royalties. Okay. We launched a book in December, our own book. We made $12,000 just in royalties that first 2 weeks, and it continues to sell. My books that I've written years ago continue to sell every single day. It becomes residual passive income for the rest of your life. You don't have to have a warehouse. You don't have to invest money in inventory. It doesn't cost you anything to actually publish, right? I mean, you can do some things yourself. There's some things you might want to outsource, and we'll get into that because you want it to be professional. But there's so many great things you can come up with and do. You don't even have to write your own book. There's some content that's in public domain, like Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. You could take that content and repurpose it as your own book, add your own anecdotes and stories and client testimonials, and you have a book. You have AI that can write a book in your how-to industry in a couple of hours. It's nuts. And then you can go in and take that and use your own context. So it really is very, very simple, especially with AI. Okay, 3 ways a book can build or expand your business. Number 1, a list builder. You can give your book away for email, phone number, text message. Make sure you get their phone number, their email, and their name, because it's really good to be able to have conversations with people. Conversations lead to conversion, and it leads to cash. That is how you connect. Connection equals cash. If you're building a business, if you're starting a business, if you're trying to get clients as a coach, if you want to be booked on stages, you got to talk to people. So if you are the shy introverted person, this is one way you get over that. You don't become invisible, right? When you're an author, you become visible. Okay, speaker platform. You have instant credibility and authority. If you want to speak on stages, when I wrote my first book and I became a bestseller, I got invited to speak at Mensa. And I actually went to the Mensa conference in Vegas last week, and spoke there again. They hired me during the pandemic. And then it was like that week in March of 2020, I was supposed to speak at Mensa. I was also had this huge opportunity where I was speaking on stage with Tony Robbins at Unleash the Power Within live. And then everything went to hell, right? We all know what happened in March of 2020. My parents were so excited. They were actually going to fly out and be in the room with me when I was on these stages just to celebrate with me. Isn't that fun? Like, I'm so lucky and blessed I have parents like that. I love them so much. And they're my biggest fans, and they're also clients, which is kind of cool. So anyway, so you can use your book as a speaker. I mean, as an author, a natural progression is to become a speaker. We have a lot of our authors that are now speakers with our company. And it happened so much where I was getting invited to speak. I couldn't do it so much, you guys, just because of my books. I get called every day and hired as a keynote speaker, and I have to turn down more jobs than I take. So I created a speakers bureau. Now we created a speaker certification. I see Viva's on here. She's coming to that in May. People can literally come hang out with me at my personal home in Yosemite, right? How many of you would love to come hang out? Just hang out, have fun, and go to Yosemite with me? Hang out at my private home, my dream home that I bought as a retreat center, where we're doing writers retreats and we're doing speaker certification. And you get to do it in this beautiful environment called Yosemite, right? Put Yosemite in the chat if you want to join us there. Like, hey, I love the idea of doing a writer's workshop in Yosemite. Like, doesn't that just inspire you to think about it? How could you not be inspired in that environment? This is where I go to find inspiration. And I love sharing that sacred space for people. Richard's on here. Richard's going to be there. Richard's doing the speaker and the author training with us. So the idea is, I'm not only going to give you food for thought, I'm not going to just give you food. I'm going to show you, like, remember that biblical thing. Like, I'm not just going to give you a fish for the day. I'm going to teach you how to fish for the lifetime. I'm going to give you knowledge. I'm going to give you the information, and I'm going to show you the steps you need to do to take action. And the rest is up to you, right? You have to decide what's a priority in your life. If you want to do this, there's plenty of opportunities to do this in the next 8 to 10 weeks. And you can get this stuff done way faster than you think. So I want to give you opportunities that I didn't have. And I created this whole company and all this training, and I'm showing up every day here to give myself to you guys, because I've had this success in my life and I know what it takes to get there. I want to inspire you to take action and to have you inspire others. That ripple effect excites me more than you'll ever know, because just getting out of bed in the morning, I could go write another book today if I wanted to. And that's not going to impact people as much as inspiring you. If we can get 10 or 12 or 20 or 50 or 500 of you to go out and change the world through books, because books change lives. Books save lives. It's amazing what books can do. And they bring people together, right? You all have that power within you, even if you're not a writer. This is what I want you to take away from today. If you own a business, or you're a coach or a mentor, or you're an expert at something, or maybe you went through 2 divorces like Nigel, who's on this call, and wanted to create a book to help dads bounce back from divorce. Nigel has been in our program for 2 or 3 years now, and he's now hired as a mentor to work with our clients because he went and did everything we told him to do, and he's super coachable, and he's just taken his whole business to a new level. He started from scratch. He didn't have an email list. He didn't know anybody, maybe a few people, but his book started to help him grow his business. So this is called a client conversion model. So with our formula, we find that 20 to 30% of the people who read your book are going to reach out to you in some way and want to work with you. If you use the model we teach, you must use this blueprint and the framework in order to get the result. If you want a client conversion model, you've got to share tools, and there's a very specific way to do that. And you don't give away all your tools. You might have 100 tools. Like if you're a handyman and you just show up with a hammer, you're not going to be able to get hired very much. But if you roll up in a custom truck with all these tools, you could build a whole house with just those tools in your hands, right? Now you've got skills and the right tools and the knowledge. And then you start to build your team from there. Okay, so I want you guys to ask this question. Let's just pretend that all of you watching have now said, okay, I hear you. I need to write a book. Okay, I'm going to write a book. Okay, what do you want your book to do for you? Think of the things that I just outlined. Please put in the chat. What do you want your book to do for you? Right? Do you want it to become your legacy? Your book's going to be here 100 years from now after we're all gone, and people will still be reading it and being inspired. Does that turn you on, get you excited to know that? Do you want to help people? Do you want to change people? Do you want to save somebody's life? Do you want to offer expertise? Do you want to make money? Do you want to have an impact? Do you want to grow a list? You want to build your social media following? What do you want your book to do for you? Because you have to start there. And Oprah taught me this. You start with this intention of what do you want your book to do for you, just like she did with her shows. And then you work backwards from that intention. So if you want your book to grow a business, then you have to write it a certain way to get that outcome in order to show value to the person you're writing it for. Okay. So put in the chat, what do you want your book to do for you? If you don't know yet, I'm going to give you some examples. Okay. Suda Bay is one of our clients. She was an immigrant, escaped from Iran, and she was literally beaten up by the government for protesting as a young woman, and was left for dead. And it was only because her cousin was a nurse at the hospital and smuggled her out of the hospital, and they got her out of the country, and she came to America. Now she's a hypnotherapist. She's a nurse by trade, but she speaks on stages. She offers a free copy of her book and a free consult, and she has booked constantly and has increased her client base. And you can find her on Clubhouse every Saturday night in the Angels group. So she's basically has this business where she connects with angels and helps people connect with angels, and has healing powers and does hypnotherapy and a lot of interesting things, but medically trained as a nurse. So really fascinating story. And it's had great impact on a lot of people. Suzanne Sabilla, Pivot U. She is somebody that came to us during the pandemic. She was really nervous, like, I don't know how I'm going to make a living. All these things are happening. And then her son was now, at home schooled because everybody's was. She basically wrote her book in a few days, launched it. It became a #1 bestseller in business, which is a very competitive category. She won a national book award. Okay. And she had this business where she was going to medical clients at $5,000 each. So we connected her with a podcast in the UK, and she picked up 5 new clients. She made 25 grand off that one podcast. Tanya McCready, you guys have heard her story. Oh my gosh. I mean, you can go to our website. Micah, put the website in the chat, please. It's mydefiningmoments.com. Go to case studies and read her story. More importantly, watch the video. Tanya was in our chat the other day on our Facebook page saying, welcome everybody. Like, she's an amazing, inspiring human. I just love her, and I'm so proud of her. She has sold over 10,000 books. She's given away thousands of books. She has a TV deal. Her dream was to speak at Coca-Cola, and she's now spoken at Coca-Cola. She has built 7 different income streams off this book and is doing 8 figures a year. And just 2 years ago, she was trying to get through the pandemic when her travel business was shut down. She has a dog mushing company. Who'd have thought you could turn that into 8 figures? And 8 figures means 10 million plus, just to be clear. Okay. So she went from, I don't know if I'm going to survive this year, to now just in 2 years making over 10 million, like 8 figures. So I'm proud of her, and she's extremely coachable. She did everything we taught her. She took her business, her life, everything to the next level. Jeff Wickersham, he wrote Fight, Love, Repeat. He had a fitness business, and during the pandemic, it was all shut down, and he was doing one-on-one coaching clients as a personal trainer. He ended up creating a virtual challenge. He was a little bit nervous. How do I do this? He launched his book, became #1 on the bestseller list. And then he ended up using this book to launch the coaching. And I was actually one of his first clients. I loved his coaching model. It's so great. And he made $17,000 the first week. Now he's in high demand as a speaker and gets paid to be a speaker. And he signed a deal to be in a movie. So this is what happens when you get your story out there, and there's power in your story. Like you guys can literally build a 7-figure brand. That's $1 million brand. And you can do it in the next 90 days. It doesn't have to take years. It can literally take 10 or 15 hours of your life, or 30 to 40 if you're slow and you want to do it the old fashioned way, you know? Here's Nigel. He's on this call right now. Nigel, give us some love in the chat. Like we just mentioned him earlier, and he is a PhD. He's an engineer, very smart guy. His name is Smart. Okay. That's to give you an idea how analytical and smart he is. So he could have easily said, I don't have time to write a book. Who am I? I've been divorced twice. Right. But he's now an expert on divorce. And I'm proud to say that during this whole process, he got married again, and he's happy, and he's living his life, and he's loving his life, and he's educating and helping a lot of other men going through a divorce, created a whole coaching business, hit #1 on the bestseller list, got booked on TV shows, radio shows, podcasts, and more. And most recently, he went with me, and one of our other students, Leah Montani, went with me to India a few months ago, and we spoke live in front of 700,000 people. Now he's doing a TED Talk, and he just is finished his audiobook that's in review right now to be launched. So it's amazing what happens when you take action and you don't have any fear. This is Nikki's story, the one I was telling you about. She overcame horrific sexual abuse within her own family, had to talk about that story very publicly, exposed a lot of people and things in her community and her family. Very, very brave, courageous story. And she's now a godparent to over 70 kids who suffered from abuse. I just think that's amazing. Alush, he's awesome. Alush is a book gives you more authority. Now, this guy worked for a bank. Okay. He built leadership so powerful. Like his superpower is teaching new managers how to become leaders in the first year of management, right? How many of you have a job and you don't like your boss? You don't have to admit that, because they might not see this. I'm just kidding. But like where you're just like, God, I should buy this book for them so they can become a better leader, right? How would you like to have such a rock solid team, literally bulletproof team, that when someone broke into the bank and they robbed his bank, his team stepped in front of him and the gunman, and they would have taken a bullet for him? You talk about leadership. This guy's the real deal. This is Sharon Cohen. You might have remembered her yesterday. She was on here in one of our training sessions and shared her journey in the last couple of years. And now she has written 8 books with our company. It's crazy. She's made a lot of money off this. She's built a whole coaching practice around it, even got hired by our mentors, Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi. Now she's an expert on sales teams. She's a very knowledgeable person. And I'm happy to say that we hired her to be a master coach, and she's on our group calls every single week. So you can learn from someone like her. She made $50,000 off her book before she wrote one word. No, her first book, she didn't. Her second book, she didn't. This was like 5 or 6 books. After she started doing it for a while, she kept leveling up each time and just taking what we were teaching her to a whole new level. She is a master, and she's very coachable. So Christoph came to us. He said, I don't have time to write a book. And I said, you just did this amazing presentation. There's your book. And he went, never even thought about that. So if you already have a webinar, right, you've already gone through that process of creating an educational content that has like a little pitch at the end, maybe 90% education, 10% pitch. You have a workshop, you have a webinar. Maybe you already are a speaker and you have a signature speech. Maybe you're somebody that's a coach and you kind of have this 5-step process. Those 5 steps can become your chapters. Or if you have a course and you have 5 to 7 or 8 modules, those modules, your course, can become a book, right? This isn't about creating a lot of extra stuff. It's taking what you already have. So, I mean, we have hundreds of hours of content. Dolores Nera, she wanted to be a corporate consultant. And she wrote a book about working in the workforce in a toxic environment and, how to get through this behavior, this toxic behavior in the workplace. Now she's speaking at women's conferences. She's, she created this high-level leadership, and it's increased her presence as a conference speaker. This helps her get booked. And when she does speak, she can sell her book and she can promote her service. So even if she spoke it free at Rotary or church, she can sell books and she can promote herself as a coach and get clients from that. Benedicta, I love this story. Benedicta wrote a story about friendship choices, lessons to help you find better friends. And this was based on 12-year-olds, right? We know right now that segment of 12-year-olds, of kids like 12 to 15 is it's a very high, like, what's the word? It's like a it's the highest rate of suicide right now among peers, among age ranges, right? It's so scary to think what young kids are going through. And I have a 14-year-old and I've seen it firsthand with his own group of friends. And what happened is 2 years ago when she wrote her book, my son became part of her art team and read her book. He was dealing with a very toxic friendship. This person was younger than him, was like 10 years old, and, was going through a lot of challenges in their life. And at that age was actually threatening suicide. And so there was like this text campaign that he was on with his friends. They all had like some kind of online chat thing. And he read the book, he got the tools, and he comes to me one night and he says, "Mom, I just saved 8 lives." And I was like, "What?" And he said, "I just saved 8 lives because there was a suicide pact going on this chain. I didn't know how to say anything. I didn't know what to say to them. I didn't want to say the wrong thing. I was scared to tell you or their parents or anybody about it." And so we were able to intervene, talk to their parents, get everybody help. And all of those kids are alive and well today. And that book saved those lives. There's no doubt. Right. And this was before it was even published, because it was just like he was part of the art team, the advanced reader copy. He was reading a book to give feedback because he was an avid reader and he loved reading books. And he was 12 at the time, or 11, I think. So it was like, this is so scary to think, what if she never wrote the book? Where would those kids be? I don't even want to think about that right now. So books can change lives. They can save lives. They can bring people together. This is my dad's Bible study. I love that there's somebody that bought the book, and they had one family member was a Buddhist, another one was a non-believer, and then she had her grandmother, and all these people that got together to do a Bible study, and they bought his book. And it was like this bonding that brought their family together. And then her grandmother died right after that. So she was so grateful to have that time to bring her family closer together by using this book as a way to do that and create unity for their family, plus a strong faith and a Bible study lessons. Now, my dad has written 4 books. There were 4 volumes of this book. It's a whole year of prepared Bible study lessons. And we searched keywords, and these types of books, by the way, Bible study and Christian books, the average book in that genre generates 3,000 a month. We researched that before he wrote the book and made sure to include certain keywords when we published his book. What happened to me, I was hired by my mentors, Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. My book skyrocketed, right? We grew over 1,000% in the first year. And then I started helping other people do the same. This is me on a Zoom call with Tony, with Dean Graziosi, where I was featured in the mastermind community. Some of you may have found me there through that. And I'm a speaker and a trainer with their company. We've helped people write books in over 300 different industries, from divorce, fitness, legal, finance, parenting, healing, and so many others. Now I have an entire team dedicated to helping grow business owners leverage their knowledge and expertise to grow their business with a book. So you want to write a book to get more clients? Let me give you an example. Okay. So let's say you want to be a life coach. Maybe you've learned to overcome certain things, and you've lost weight, or, you used to drink a lot more, and now you found some tools and other things to do, or you cut back on the Chardonnay, right? Like, everybody needs a life coach. So you have the opportunity to either go hire a mentor or become one. I call it mentor because I think mentors are worth way more than coaches, but that's just me. So let's just say you want to be a life coach, or you are a life coach, right? And your goal is, I want to write a book that helps people. Now, this is extremely broad, okay, both for your business and your book. I mean, if you market to everybody, then you're not going to really connect with anybody, right? So what type of people? Is it men or women? What are you going to help them solve? What is the pain point for that reader? Because when you can solve a problem for the reader, the same way you solve a problem for your clients, then they see you as someone who cares about them. And you actually have to give value first and you help people by actually helping them. You help them get the transformation. I would watch Tony Robbins do this live on stage every day. He would literally go like, boom, transformation, transformation. Within minutes, somebody could be stuck for 20 years and he could just disrupt that pattern, give them the tool, and they would have this instant transformation. And it was amazing to watch. And guess what? All of you have that same ability. All right. So when you are specific, what do you want your book to do for you? Be specific. Don't be so broad. So if I was going to drill this down, then I would say, instead of I just want to help people with a book, say something like, I want this book to position me as the expert in my market as a life coach for women. I want to be known as the trusted authority when it comes to women's empowerment. I want to be booked as a speaker at women's conferences and retreats. I want the book to help me acquire coaching clients. Okay, do you see how that's way more specific than this? I just want to write a book that helps people, right? So this, and you guys can screenshot this if you want, but I want you to use this as a framework and use this as a template to define what you want your book to do for you. And in the chat, you guys, those of you that are in the process of writing your book already, I want you to use this as a template, because when you get this down, it's going to help you learn how to market your book. When you know what you want and you know who you're helping and why you're helping and what you want this book to do for you, now the answers are going to become self-evident. Now, let's say you're writing a memoir or you're writing a cookbook or a children's book. It's going to be a little different. Guess what? Your process of writing the book is exactly the same. You still have to market your book. You still have to know who your book is for. And if you're writing a memoir or a mentor, or like a autobiography, your book can't be about you. I know that sounds counterintuitive because wait, the whole book is about me. No, your book has to be about your reader. The hook for your book has to still be about why should they give a crap about your story. No one wants to read your personal diaries. So you have to have the right structure. And we include all of that. We have trainings that show you step by step. If you want to learn that, you can find out within 15 minutes what your structure should be and what should be included in your outline as a memoir or any of these types of books. Now, if you have a nonfiction book, it's easier to build a business on the back end. If you have a fiction book, it's much harder because you really have to build a list of fans. And then you get that list and then you start writing additional books that are part of a series, or they now fall in love with the characters like Harry Potter, right? That kind of stuff. That's a whole different process of writing, but the process of marketing and building and launching to bestseller is all still the same. Okay. Step 2. Know your reader. Who is going to benefit from your knowledge or information? We call this the ICA, the ideal client avatar. Don't say everyone. If you market to everyone, if you're going to help everyone, you're going to help no one. Okay, be specific. So this is how you drill down, right? I'm a life coach who wants to reach women. This is still pretty broad. But you say, I want to help working women who are burned out and need a change in their career, women who stayed home to raise children and are now ready to re-enter the workplace, or women who know they are meant to make a difference in the world but don't know where to start. Okay, do you see how that naturally leads to a measurable process with tools and solutions that you have to help just that person? This is the power of one. You're writing one book and you're marketing it to one person, and you're going to solve one problem, and you're going to use one platform to promote it. It is super simple when you just focus on one thing, not a million things. All right. Use this as a template. Take a screenshot of this, save this. Those of you in VIP, this is being recorded. So you'll be able to use this. Let me just make sure that it is being recorded. Yes, that scared myself for a second there. Okay. Okay, oops, where did my thing go here? Hold on a second. Oh, my screen share is my desktop is insanely crazy. Okay, you guys can still see me, right? You can see my screen here. Okay. So take a screenshot of this and drill down and be as specific as possible. Okay, step 3. What is your ICA, your reader? What are their needs, desires, and problems? What keeps them up at night? Okay, an example might be, my clients, I want to help women who feel overwhelmed. Well, that could be every woman on the planet. How are you going to help them? Okay, so drill down, be more specific. I want to help women who don't feel heard, who have a desire to improve their life, family, and/or health. They feel stuck and are tired of conflict. They feel stressed. They want to make changes, but they don't know what to do. They might be angry at their situation and feel skeptical about solutions. Now you got to get in their head and know, what are they feeling? What is the dialogue in their head? What is their own voice saying to them? Because when you can get in their head and you start speaking in the language, they're like, oh my gosh, you're in my head. I hear it all the time. People are like, how did you know that? I said, because I've been you, right? If you've gone through a divorce and you're a divorce coach, you're going to be able to know what their fears are and all that crazy stuff going on in their head because you've been through it. You're going to know how to speak to it. You're going to know how to solve it. You're going to have to call them out on it, serve them in a loving, truthful way, and say, hey, you got to stop going off the rails and complaining about your ex, because that's not going to help you move forward. You're looking back, and you're going to give them tools to help them do that. Do you see how that works? And all you're doing is saying, you can read my book and figure it out on your own. Or if you like my book and imagine what you learned from my book, what can you learn by working with me one-on-one as a coach? Or if you have a group coaching where you have a bunch of divorced people going through there and they're all supporting each other, not going in there and bashing their ex, because that's not going to move them forward. They're protecting their finances, their children's education fund. They're trying to reconcile as co-parents, not the marriage, because they got to live with this person in their life if they have kids, right? They got to get past all the emotional baggage. And that is the hardest thing to do in a breakup or a divorce. If you break up with someone, you don't have to see them anymore. But if a divorce and you have kids, you got to spend holidays with them, birthdays. It is so hard. People need that. And 1 in 2 marriages, 50% of marriages are ending in divorce. That's millions of people that you can get as a client, and you only need 10, maybe 20 tops. If there's millions of people out there who need what you have to offer, don't you think you can find 10 or 20 that are willing to hire you to pay for speed and not spend 4 years and 100 grand fighting their ex the wrong way? Do you see the value of what you can solve for them? Okay. Now, narrow down your niche. Determine the content you want to share. Think of a solution that you personally or professionally have overcome. What led you to that success? Was it an action, a tool, a process? Start to write it down and document those steps that you took in your own journey. And then I want you to brain dump all the things that helped you and what made it worse. And just write down on a piece of paper. Okay. And some of you, you're watching this back, pause this and do it now. Okay. If you're watching it live, write this stuff down in your notes. Think of the solutions that you use. Were there tools? Did you journal? Did you get coaching? Did you learn about how to breathe a certain way so that you took a deep breath when you started to feel anxiety? Those are tools. There's framework and there's tools, and that's what you're going to teach people. That's a measurable thing that they can walk away from your book and have and go, wow, I'm different because of Richard. I'm different because of Heidi and what she taught me about my finances. I'm forever changed. I'm grateful. Now they love you, and because you changed something in them, you changed a belief system, right? If you're writing a book to help your clients, think of the pain that they're in and what it's costing them. If they want to go through a divorce, they can waste 100 grand fighting with an ex, with attorneys, or they can spend $2,000 or $3,000 with a program with you and save themselves 100K. What's it costing them to not work with you? Right? Think of the process, the product, or the solution that you used to solve it for yourself, because every one of you became your own client first, right? Start documenting those steps and include those things with success stories and testimonials. All that becomes content and it plugs right into your outline. Okay. And the cool part is, if you don't have clients already, you may not have testimonials. You can use your own testimonial about how you use this tool to help you. And there's framework for that. Turn those steps into chapters. Okay. So start thinking about what's that thing that you needed to solve, and what were the steps that you took that got you from your own hell to that heaven, right? If you're in pain and you know that there's 5 steps. If you're in AA, there's 12 steps, and you can't skip them, and you can't go in a different order. And what do? Well, any of you have ever been in the recovery world, in the AA, Alcoholics Anonymous program, they get you a sponsor. That's a mentor. Okay. That's your coach to hold you accountable to the steps. Now, some people fall off the wagon because they can't even handle 12 steps. So I recommend you just pick 5 steps, because here's the deal, you guys, simplify. All right. There might be 100 steps, but no one wants to read the book of 1,000 ways to market your book. And it exists. I have it. It's actually, you guys are going to laugh. Ugh, it's right here. I don't know if you can still see me on screen, but here's the book. Hold on. I just got to show you this because it's a little overwhelming. Here's the book. 1,001 ways to market your book. Look how thick this sucker is. Do you know I've had this book for 15 years and I've never read it? I've never actually finished the book because it takes so long to do it, right? Like, it's so many steps. I mean, I've done some of the steps, but here's what's funny. I've done some of these steps. Okay. I didn't even do all of them. I just did like 5 or 10 of them, and I still made 12K in the first 2 weeks of my book that I launched recently. I mean, it's like, that's my point. You don't have to give somebody that much. It's going to overwhelm them. So everything you want to do, you can do in 5 steps, everything. Making chocolate chip cookies. If you want to get a college degree, what are the 5 most important critical steps? Step number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. If you want to get a job, what's the most important steps? And if you don't know these guys, go to ChatGPT and ask them, if I want to be a life coach, what are the top 5 things I need to do or know? You'd be surprised how good that stuff works. All right. So think of the steps in order. What do they need to do? What tools can be helpful? Use the steps as chapters in the book, and that's how you create the outline. If you want to write a memoir, you can drop in stories that relate to your overall theme, but don't turn the entire book into being about you, because you have to make it about solving your reader's problem, right? And there's a structure to that. People typically don't read books about a person's life unless they're famous or their story is famous. So if your story is part of a profession or a defining moment in your life or business, then it's okay to use that, because you're going to share your own story to inspire others to take action. Now, I'm not discouraging you from writing a family history book or a memoir. Like, I'm writing a book about my great grandmother called The Cash Value of a Woman, about an essay she wrote in the winter of 1915, which is pretty fascinating, that was published all over the world, right? That's something worth writing about. Can I sell at least 50 copies of that book? Okay. And that's what you need to find out. Like, if you're just writing a memoir for yourself and you want to share your story with your family, that's fine. You can sell 50 copies of that book and make $1,000 and be great, and have that book out in the world and be a published author. You could even be a best-selling author, right? If you want to be, right? Even if you just sell to your family and friends. I mean, but wouldn't you rather make the impact and sell thousands of books and reach millions of people and do it the big way, rather than just impact only a few people? But if that's all you want to do, and some of you are like, I don't have a business, I just want to write a book. Okay, great. You can do that. And you can sell 50 or 100 copies. You can still make $10,000 off your launch, which we teach you how to do that. But you don't have to have a business to do this. Okay, I'm just giving this as an example, because if you do have a business, you can make a lot more. And hopefully you guys are understanding it's easier to make 150, 200K a year doing this stuff than getting a job that's going to pay you that. It's way easier. And you don't need a lot of clients to do it. Okay. Interview other experts. These slides are bugging me. I wish I could go back and fix them. I'm gonna have to fix them because that's bugging me. Okay, sorry, that's the editor in me. One of our authors made over 80K in 24 hours with her book, $80,000 before she even wrote one word. Now, I only say 50 because 80 sounds like even more, but what happened is she filled up one book and decided to sell the second book. So she ended up with 80K. She decided to write a book for female entrepreneurs. Now, Erin Kate had a story in that book with Sharon. She's one of our clients as well. She's on this call, or was earlier. And Erin Kate came in and said, I want to write my own book now. She had that experience. It was a great experience. And then she came back in, wrote a story in a book with one of our authors, and then came back in and wrote her own story. Right. And so with Sharon, she did this and decided to make it 12 chapters. She asked other successful female entrepreneurs to each contribute a chapter in the book. This is like our chicken soup for the soul model. We do this with defining moments. That's our trademark that we own. It is like the new chicken soup for the soul, where we feature inspiring stories And we give people an opportunity to share a story inside one of our books, or they can come in and we'll show them how to write their own book. And we've done a ton of those. The one I was just mentioning is called Angels Among Us. That one did 12K in the first 2 weeks in just royalties. Okay. So what she did is she did 12 chapters. She asked each of them to contribute. They agreed to buy a certain amount of books. I think it was like 250 books for $20 each. That's 5,000, right? They agreed to buy a certain amount of books. And then here's what's cool. You can sell those books, and it's a self-funded marketing campaign. You can sell every one of those books to your own clients, friends, and family and make all your money back. Or you can give them away as a gift because it's going to help you get a client. So giving away that free book that maybe costs you $20 if you bought it that way, and you get a client that pays you $2,000, no brainer. How many free books would you give away? Right? So she sold out of the first book and half of a second book in less than 24 hours. She did not have a website, a sales page, a brochure, a PDF, a designer, a hashtag, or any of that. She just literally got on the phone with people, sent out an email and said, hey, I'm doing this. Who's interested? Hopped on a phone with them, had a quick conversation, and did it. And each of the women paid anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000 to write a chapter about their own expertise. And there was value all the way around because they didn't have to go and spend all the time and effort to write their entire story. And this thing got leveraged. And they were out there with thousands of books getting out there and promoting it. And it had a huge publicity attached to it. So they ended up selling thousands of books before they even wrote it in this model. Okay. If you write a book with 12 experts, then you're considered one of the experts. And guess what, guys? You could turn this into a summit. If you want to build a list, by the way, those of you who need a list, you could take this exact model. You could go do a summit, interview 12 people live on a Zoom like this in one day. You could transcribe all of that. There's your book. That's how you write a book in one day without actually writing a book. Are you getting it now? Are you guys getting it? Put in the chat, I get it. I get it. If you get it, okay? Now, the interviews can also be used as chapters, like the example from our client, or they can be used throughout your book. And then what's happening is when you're interviewing people in your book as experts, guess what's going to happen? They're going to endorse your book publicly. If you're writing a book about education and you go get the president of Harvard to interview, believe it or not, these guys love being in books, especially best-selling books like what we do. Do you know that we have a 100% success rate? Every person who has written a book with us and launched a book with our company has hit #1 on the bestseller list. I don't know anybody, not one competitor or publisher in the market that can say that. That is something we value and pride ourselves on because we love to partner with people who are go-getters and action takers like Richard, who said, I'm all in. And by the way, Richard, I love your text. He sent me a text this morning, a picture of him with his wife, introducing me to his wife with a picture of the two of them. Is adorable. I love it. Thank you. That's so sweet. And I really do feel like we have a soul connection with every one of our clients. Heidi is our newest client that came into VIP yesterday. You guys can do this too. It's not rocket science here. Okay. When you write a book and you become the expert and people say, oh, they wrote the book on it, they're the expert, people will be impressed with how connected and smart you are. Even if your slide is messed up and has the S down here, and I can't change it because I'm in the middle of a presentation, it's bugging me. But this is life, right? You've watched what's happened to me live today, and I'm still going. Does all of that affect the content? Does it affect the value of the knowledge that you're receiving? No. Can you guys forgive me for that? I hope so. Does it ruin the relationship that we have here? Does it take away or negate from any of the content I'm giving you? No. If anything, it shows you that I'm human. My team is human. We still make mistakes, but guess what? We still make money and we still change lives and we still impact people. And that's why you got to get out of perfection mode. Some of you are stuck in perfection mode because you're controllers, and that's okay. I'm a controller. And a lot of controllers become controllers because they had things that happened when they were younger that they couldn't control. Trauma, abuse, things like that happen in their life that they couldn't control. So then they become controlling. They can become skeptical. They become scared to take action, to make choices. They want to control everything and everyone. And I'm saying this as a recovering controller. Okay, I get it. Some of you are more analytical. Some of you are supporters, cheerleaders. Woohoo! You're happy all the time and you annoy the crap out of people in the mornings. So every type of personality, okay, is, and and there's a supporter is the other one. You got the supporter, you got you've got the analytical, you've got the controller, and the gosh, I forgot the fourth one. The creative. So there's 4 different types of people, and they're all going to have different personalities. And you got to know that when you're talking to people, because if they're analytical, they want to see numbers. They trust data. They want receipts. Okay. It's not that you just tell them, they got to see it. So if they're a controller, you can't push them too hard, or they get angry and then they want to get off a call. They don't want to talk to you anymore, and they have to go cool off for a little bit. So like there's different personality types, and we're going to go through this in our training in the next week or so. I'm actually going to go through our step-by-step sales training. How many of you need to learn more about sales? Put sales. Because let me tell you, if you're not a friend of Sam, we call Sam sales and marketing, SAM. If you're not a friend of Sam, you're not going to make that much money in your business, right? And you're either going to learn about sales and marketing from us, or you better learn it from somebody, or you're not going to have a business. I'm telling you, even if you're not a salesperson, I don't love sales, but I love enrolling people into their vision and dream. If I had a fear of money or sales or talking to people, there's a lot of you that wouldn't be here. And how many of you are glad you're here? Like that you've already had this experience where something has shifted or changed in your life, and you see what's possible and you feel hopeful. And last week or yesterday or 2 weeks ago, maybe you didn't feel hopeful. Maybe you felt overwhelmed because you knew what you wanted to do, but you didn't know how, or you didn't know what, or you didn't know who. And here's a real trick. This is a $1 million advice here, $1 million. This one thing made the difference between me scaling to 1 million or not. I stopped asking, what do I need to do? And I started asking, who can do this? Who do I know that can do this? And I started hiring. I hired VAs. I hired designers. I hired accountants. I hired other people. I didn't do everything myself, because here's the deal. If you're trying to grow $1 million business, some of you need to hear me. This is for you. If you're trying to grow $1 million business, you cannot do it if you are doing $20 an hour jobs. Does that resonate with somebody? Okay. You don't want to be a babysitter. If you do, you're going to get babysitting wages. And if you hire weak people, or people that don't have the courage and the power to make their own decisions and become leaders in your own company, and you have to micromanage them, you're an adult babysitter. And when you're a babysitter, you get paid babysitting wages, and it's not very much. It's below minimum wage. How can you grow a business if you're a babysitter? You got to lead people. You got to empower people, but you have to start by changing yourself. You have to become the leader. You got to become the person who wrote the best-selling book. You got to, like, my business is my greatest personal development tool that's ever existed. And it kicks my butt every day. There are times where I don't feel like working. I don't feel like doing something. It's not about how I feel. And there's a whole formula to that. I'm putting that on my list of things we want to talk about. Guys, there's so much stuff we can do, and there's only so many hours in the day we can talk about this stuff before we take the knowledge and take action. Okay, so back to this. Step 7, convert a signature speech into a book. Some people like to speak their book. If you're not a writer, or you get stuck trying to think of what to write, then record. Okay, listen. How many people think that writer's block is a thing? How many people think they have writer's block? It's okay. Just put it in the chat, writer's block. How many of you ever had writer's block, where you're trying to write a piece of copy, or you want to post something on social media and you go, I don't know what to write. Or you get in your head and you start to overthink it. That's normal. Okay. But do we ever get speaker's block where we don't know what to say? No. So when you start thinking of writing as just speaking, you're having a conversation with somebody and you think of that person. I want you to think of a person. Who is the friend that you are most honest with? Put it in the chat. Put their name in the chat. Who is the one person or friend in your life that you are the most honest with? It could be a friend. It could be a parent. It could be your golf buddy. Who's the person that knows you as the real you, not the BS thing that you're putting out there on social media, not the fake book person profile, Put their name in the chat because I want you to remember and note this for yourself. This is for marketing. Okay, put the name of who is the person that you are the most honest with. And when you think about writing your book, I want you to put that person's name at the beginning as if you're speaking to them the entire book. Or your ICA. Remember, we talked about who are you writing this book for? Give them a name. It's Diane. You know what's weird? Is I made up a name, Diane. That's my middle name. That's my daughter's middle name. It's my mom's middle name. So I wrote my book for Diane. And I had this outline, like, here's my book is for, my first book. And you know what? I actually met 3 people named Diane that fit that in real life. And one of them told me, your book saved my life. Oh, that makes me want to cry. Because I can't express enough how important this is. That if your book can save a life and you don't get out of your own way, you're responsible for that person's life. My mentor, Mark Victor Hansen, he said, stop thinking of who your book is going to help and start thinking of who your book is going to hurt if you don't finish it. And guys, I swear to you on everything I own and my children, like, this happened. The very next day that he told me that, because my book was published, I had a book with Chicken Soup for the Soul. I had the biggest publisher on the planet, and I still couldn't finish my book. I still was making excuses. My gosh, you guys, what's wrong with me? It took me years to get that deal. I finally had it. I was still procrastinating, second guessing, imposter syndrome. I had all the fears, all of it. When he said that to me, stop thinking of who you're going to help, start thinking of who you're going to hurt if you don't finish it. The next day, a woman in my hometown stepped in front of a train and took her own life because her son had died 15 years earlier. Now, my son would have been 18 this year. I know that pain. I went to his grave the other day and bawled my eyes out. I miss him so much. I think about how he'd be a senior in high school right now. It's gut-wrenching. It's awful. That chair is always going to be empty in my life, but it doesn't mean my life had to die, you guys. Because his life, his legacy is the reason we're here talking today. The whole reason my company has become a multi-million-dollar business in self-help, that we've grown and expanded and helped thousands of people over the years. If my son hadn't passed away, I don't know that I would have had the vision to do something bigger than myself. I did all of this to honor him and to help other parents that were going through that loss. And that experience changed everything. My book was done within a few weeks after that, because now I did not want to lose somebody else. And then when my first book came out, I didn't realize that I was going to be the expert. And I would get parents calling me and they were suicidal, just like that lady. They said, you wrote the book on it. You should know how to fix me. I panicked. I don't know what to say. I'm not a coach. I went back to Tony Robbins. I took a course. In 8 weeks, I became an expert life coach, master life coach. If I would have had to go get my license as a marriage family counselor, it would have taken 18 months minimum and hundreds of hours. And guess what? It still wouldn't have given me the tools to save somebody's life. To this day, I went back to those people. They're all good. I've never lost anyone else, guys, not one person, because I got in and learned the tools. There's a responsibility to impact. You've got to know this. You need to know it going in so you can prepare yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. You got to be like, who do you need to be today to become this person tomorrow, to hit this goal in the next 90 days, this big, hairy, audacious goal that you've been dreaming about your whole life. You don't need to think about it anymore. You need to freaking do something about it. Thinking about things is never going to make you money, ever. It's never going to help anybody. I think someday I'm going to go win a gold medal. How's that working? You got to work. You got to get up, work your ass off every day. Those Olympic athletes give up everything for that gold medal. But guess what? Even the gold medal ain't enough. Look what happened to Michael Phelps. He dedicated his whole life to that one mission. And then what? And that happens. You write your book, it becomes a bestseller. And then what? Now you're like, wow. When you want something so bad for 20 years and you finally find it, it's like, huh, okay, now I need to add something else to my bucket list, right? Life isn't over. You add a new goal and you go do something else you didn't think you could do. So I don't want to get too far off track, but I really want to inspire you. I'm not telling you this stuff to impress y'all. I want to impress upon you what's possible for you. If you take everything I'm telling you and you don't do anything with it, that's on you. Because I've given you steps, I've given you knowledge, I've given you support, I'm giving you mentorship, I'm giving you everything you need to be successful. I can't do it for you. Actually, we can. We do have it done for you. If you don't want to write your own book, we can write it for you. We have ghostwriters. We can even build out your tech and build out your funnel. Which I talked to Heidi about this yesterday. She's like, I'm not a tech person. Guess what? You can borrow our team. You can hire our team. And we have, virtual assistants, designers, tech people, accountants. Like if you don't need all those people full time, you can borrow our team, hire them, plug them in to help you do what you need to do, and then keep going on your merry way, because you don't need somebody 40 hours a week to do that. It takes a few hours to do that stuff. Just by the way, I'm just saying that. So if you need tech, put tech in the chat. Because what I do is I go back and review the chat with my team and say, oh, this person needs this person needs that. Make sure you follow up, make sure you send them this tool. If we promise this bonus or we promise this offer, make sure we go back and honor that. They have the hard task of keeping my word. Amber and Micah are laughing back there going, yep, we know how that goes. Because I don't want to make a promise I can't keep. And if I make a commitment, some of you may not know this about me, but if I tell you I'm going to do something, I will do it. I am not a flake. And I get myself in trouble because I say, I'm going to launch my book in 7 days. Woo. And I did, but it literally almost broke my team. That was like, I'm team. I love you. I'm sorry. I will never do that to you again. Amber had to edit really fast. Micah had to get the formatting really fast. Jasmine had to build the design. Everything had to be done fast. But guess what? I wrote that book in 36 hours. It's one of our top selling books. Okay. We wrote the book. We distributed the book. We wrote it, designed it, edited everything within 6 days. We wrote it, edited, published, and it became a #1 bestseller in 6 days because I wanted it to come out on August 31st, which was my son's birthday. That was just me. Okay. And again, the day you publish doesn't have to be the day you launch. And there's a whole other process to that. I don't want to get into details, but I'm just telling you it can be done. But my first book took me over 20 years because I didn't know what to do. And then I wrote another book after that. I wrote several books last year. We've got several books this year coming out. You can be part of that. You can write a book. You can write a story inside one of our books and become a best-selling author, even if you don't want to write your own book. How cool is that? Right? You just come in and get a couple of books and you're a best-selling author. You share your story. We edit it. We make you look great. We market it. There's so many amazing things that can happen when you just step into your power and you realize that your story has the ability to change a life, and your story could become a 7-figure brand in the next 90 days. Some of you go, I want to make $1 million in my lifetime. You can make $1 million in the next 90 days. I'm not kidding. You can make it this year. You can make it in a month. I've done it in a day, guys. I've sold $100,000 in an hour before. Like, you do it through speaking to the masses. You could speak to one person who'll pay you $1 million. Tony Robbins charges $1 million for his time. If you want personal private mentorship with Tony, it's $1 million a year. He can make that call and get $1 million from one person. Most of us can't do that, but it can be done. And if one can do it, so can many. Why not me? Why not you? That should be your new mantra, rather than I don't know if I can do it. Okay, back to the slide. Sorry, I'm getting passionate. I'm getting off track. But convert a signature speech into a book. Okay, this works for workshops, training videos. You can offer recording as a bonus or an upsell when people read your book. Like, just record it. You can use the Q&A format. Write down 10 key questions that your clients ask you daily. The things that you say over and over, and then answer them. I call this the eye roller formula. If you're a dentist or a doctor, an accountant, an attorney, even a hairdresser or a realtor, you're answering the same questions all day, every day. How do I keep my hair from falling out? How do I find the best deal on my house? How do I find my dream home, right? You could answer these questions and you could put them in a workshop or a 1-hour Zoom or a book. And you could say, here, That happens every day. Somebody, like, I go to a funeral and somebody, has lost somebody very valuable to them. I hand them my book with love. I say, this is a resource for hope. This is where you start. This is ground zero. There's people here that have been through it, that love you, that will help you and support you. You don't have to do this alone. And I love giving my book to people, and I hate giving it to them because I know they're suffering, especially if they're going through the loss of a child. But God, I can't imagine where they would be without it. There are so many people that are alive on this planet today because of my son's life and his legacy. Because he didn't live, others did. I lived, and I almost died too. So what am I, chopped liver? Right? I can sit here in anguish about the fact that I lost my son and then shut down my whole life and let my whole life die, which is not going to honor him. It's not going to serve him or you or me or my family, my other kids, and the gifts that their souls came here to give, right? I don't want to discount my other kids who need their mom to be 100%. And I didn't get back to this person overnight. I lost a lot. I don't want other people to lose what I lost, to learn what I learned. Because guess what? You can learn from joy. You don't have to learn from tragedy and pain, suffering. Only if you're super stubborn like me, you can learn from joy. That's what we're here to teach you. We've got something, all of you on this call are incredible human beings with huge hearts that want to impact, and you all have a different expertise. What I want you to do right now in the chat, put what you do in the chat. What is your superpower? Who are you really? And it's interesting. I want to see that posted in the chat because you all have a special power. And this goes for people on my team as well. I want to hear from you. What's your superpower? Right? Don't discount yourself. Now, you can give this book as a gift to each new client so they understand more about what you do. If you're a dentist, this is going to help people understand why they want to do cosmetic stuff. You don't have to sit there and pitch it to them and sell it to them. They're going to read the book and go, oh, wow, I want that. Oh, it's 10 grand. Okay. How do I do this? Oh, there's financing. Great. Imagine how much easier that would be if you didn't have to tell everybody this all day long. It's an easy way to automate your information, save yourself time every day. Okay. Step 8. Now, if this were a book, this would be chapter 8 in my book. You get this? You following me? Okay. Write a book without writing a book. The best sized books are 8 to 10 chapters. They run 8 to 10 pages per chapter. They end up between 80 to 100 pages. Short read solution for people who are looking for direction on that area or expertise. You don't need 200-page book. That's going to be about 100 pages on Amazon. So it's roughly 250 words on Amazon is considered a page. So if you have a 25,000 word book, it's about 100 pages. That's all you need. But you can do a book for 10 or 15,000 words too. Okay. The more words you write, the harder it's going to be to get people to finish your book, buy your book, read your book, follow your book, edit your book, format your book. You're going to have more expenses on those things. And even publishing it is going to cost you more. The books I'm talking about are going to cost you $2 or $3. That's it. Wholesale, print on demand with Amazon changed everything in the publishing world. You don't have to print thousands of books anymore. You can print one book. I had somebody that literally, they just wanted to do their memoir and their family story. And they literally published their book to print one copy for themselves. That was it. Like, they don't care if anybody, they're not marketing it. They're like, God, I hope no one sees it's like their diary, and they just wanted to publish it. They wanted to be published, okay, for their family. You can do that. So you can interview people, 8 different people for a podcast, a Zoom class, or just record the interview, then transcribe the interviews, and each one could be a chapter in your book. And then guess what? Those people are now in your book. You ask them for a review. They're going to go out and publicly tell everybody how great your book is because they're in it. And guess what? They're probably going to buy several copies of your book. If you own the New York Times and you put somebody on the cover, they're going to go buy 50 copies to tell their friends they were on the cover of the New York Times. Don't you think other people that are featured in your book are going to do the same thing? They're like, wow, I was featured in this book. It's a #1 bestseller. You should read it. And that's going to give them credibility to be in your book. And they don't have to go write their own book to partner with you, to have that same association. You can turn your blog or your course into a book. you have a course, a workshop, a webinar, you can transcribe those modules into chapters, and there's your book. You could take a podcast and do it, right? So if you write blogs or how-to videos on YouTube, you can gather them all up, sort them as chapters, and include that same info in your book. And now with ChatGPT and AI technology, you can do this in a matter of minutes. You don't have to write copy anymore. It's crazy. You don't have to hire somebody to do any writing for you. You can do it yourself. Here's a few ways to fund your book before you write it. Pre-sales, we just talked about that. Add value to your book, sell copies before it's written. Sponsorships include companies or vendors who might also serve your client. Collaborations, sell copies of your book to people who are writing a chapter. Joint ventures, share costs with someone else and work out an affiliate fee if they get business from your book. I'm not going to go into detail on these because we're going to run out of time, and I'm trying to watch my time, but this is one option. Okay. Why self-publish versus publish with the big publishing companies? This is a whole other thing. I'm not going to get into that today. I just wanted to get into these 10 steps. We can do that another day, but the overall is that you're going to keep all your royalties. You're going to keep 100% of everything you make. And that's one of the things I want to share with you guys. If you want help doing this, we're going to put some links. Mike is going to put them in the chat. And we're going to go back and put this replay into Facebook for all of my Facebook friends. I'm so sorry that we couldn't be here live with you, but please put your questions. We'll figure out the glitch with Facebook. I'll put it on my Facebook list because every day there's something with them. I swear, I love them. When it works, it's great. But when it doesn't, it bugs me to death. And I know you know the feeling. So we're going to get that figured out so we can do this tomorrow, even if we have to go through StreamYard or some other third party to make it work. And for now, you can put your questions in there in the event on the Facebook page. And then I want to go back and review the chat because I know you guys have had a lot of things going on. Mike is going to put in the chat the link to our author blueprint. If you need help with this, some of you are already clients, some of you are not. We're doing a special challenge for the next 8 weeks. Okay. It's starting in a few days. This offer is going to end in a couple of days. It's an 8-week course. It's called Author Blueprint. It's only $1,111 or 2 payments of $650. We will help you write your book, publish your book, launch your book, show you how to do all these things step by step. There's templates, there's outlines, all of it. You own this for life. You have lifetime access. You can write as many books as you want. Once you learn it, you can do it over and over again. And normally this is an automated do-it-yourself online course that doesn't include coaching like this, but I'm giving you a bonus if you do it this week, and it ends in a few days. And the bonus is if you sign up now, okay, today. Now, some of you are already in our program, so I don't want to confuse you. If you're already in, you're already in, but some of you haven't done it yet. Some of you are still trying to decide if you want to do it. Micah, put that link in there for the training. You can click on that link. If you buy today, I will guarantee that when your book comes out, I will personally promote it to our email list. Okay, it's going to go out to 20,000 people. I'll help you promote your book personally. Okay, but you got to sign up today. And that offer and the pricing ends in a few days because we're also offering a $4,000 bonus where you get live training for the next 8 weeks. So we're going to walk you through that 8 weeks. So week 1, you're going to get on a call with our mentors, with me or some of the other people on our team. They're going to walk you through step 1, week 1, week 2, week 3. In 8 weeks, you're going to have your book done, written, ready to go, ready to publish, no excuses, no explanations, bam, done. And you're not going to be stuck. So some of you have already gone through this process. Some of you are just starting that. Richard just started on Friday. Some of you are still trying to figure out what you want to do. I want to offer that to you today because I never want to end an educational program without a chance to help you take it to the next level, to say, look, you can go do this. Everything I just taught you today, you can go do without us. You can do it on your own. Figure it out. You'll do it. Or if you want to pay for speed, you can pay a little bit of money. And that 1111 program is only 50 copies of your book, roughly at $20 each. Like anybody can sell 50 copies. So we want to help you reach that goal, and we can do it in the next 8 weeks. All right. So I'm going to end this training and we're going to jump into our VIP because this was a little longer than initially I wanted to go today, but I really wanted to make sure you guys got this and understand the value of if you don't have a book. And I'll leave you with this thought. Okay. Listen to me. If you own a business and let's say you're only charging $1,000, can you give away one free copy of your book every day. If you wrote a book, could you give away one free copy a day? Of course. Let's say you just give away one copy at $1,000. That's 365 books you're giving away. You're charging $1,000. If you write it based on our client conversion model, then 20 to 30% of people that read your book will want to work with you in some way. Okay. So even at 30%, that's 109 new clients at 1,000 each. That is 6 figures from giving away your book. And if you start getting on stages and then giving away your book, it just explodes even more. Okay. So believe me, it changes everything. All right, guys, we'll see you all on the Facebook page tomorrow. Thank you for being here today. Have a great day, and make sure you look at that link, because the offer for that is going to end at the end of today for me to personally send your book out to our email list of 20,000 people. When you finish it, you got to finish your book and you got to launch it, and I will do that for you. Okay. And my team is documenting that and who comes in today to do that deal. That offer and the pricing is going away in a few days. Okay. This ends on April 7th because we are starting that 8-week. It's an 8-week challenge that we're starting on Monday. So that deal is going to be over in a few days, and we won't offer the coaching again. We've never done this. And like you guys, some of you know, if you did that like course, there was no coaching with it, right? So this is a special bonus that I really want you to be successful. So jump in today if you can do it. And we'll see you all tomorrow for the rest of the training. Now I'm going to jump into VIP. Micah is going to also put the link for VIP. If you want to join our private VIP, it's only $30. And if you join the author program, you can jump into VIP for free, because now you're a client. When you're a client, you can jump in and you get access to these trainings every day through April 15th here for free, right? I mean, VIP, you can pay, you get the recordings, you get this one-on-one coaching, and then you also get the course. Okay, so we'll let you guys go on the Facebook page, and I'm going to hop back into my VIP group here. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. See you tomorrow.